Right. Here we go. So, in terms of set, and I know we talked about ball position, okay, which you generally want to look from, obviously, this direction, because we're looking at the ball position, but I think we discuss now in terms of width, the stance is going to get wider. What we want to try to do, you can see on this left down one here now, it looks like you're almost ready to go, yeah? What you'll see now with this foot movement wider, then your left foot actually moves, and your right foot kind of comes back in. So there's a lot of kind of like moving around, like a sort of penguin, sort of going side to side, back and forth, yes, and getting yourself in like there. So just that's going to take a bit of practice, just kind of get used to, okay, what is my width of stance? Now, as a general rule of thumb, if I sort of put a ball there, your left foot here, which we'll call that one, there's your left foot, okay? That's kind of where you're comfortable with your ball position now, off your left foot, okay? With your wedges, your right foot's going to be probably there, okay? So the blue line's your wedge, the green line's probably a sort of 7-iron, mid-ish irons. Your hybrid and 3 was probably there. Now, if you look at that sort of ball position relative to those lines, the two blue lines, it looks fairly centred. The green line is now just ahead of centre. The red line back here now, it's further forward. Obviously, with the driver, your stance would be maybe a little bit wider, but the ball position be further forward, yeah?
Yeah.
So I'll give you a different, and I think you automatically do that, to be fair, because the ball's teed up. So straight away, you're going to get in that better position. So the ball's necessarily not moving kind of this way or that way into terms of setup. It's just your feet are getting wider. And again, if you're doing a chip shot, I will delete all these. If you're doing a chip shot, okay, if that's the ball there now, a chip shot, the ball position would be there because your right foot's a lot closer, yeah? That just puts the ball back in the stance. It's still the same distance from that foot, okay, but your right foot now is moved in closer to give the impression, okay? So just a little play about with that and get used to that in terms of how that feels. I think initially it felt like you couldn't get through it. If we look at this backswing here now, okay, as you go back, it's a little bit on the steeper side, so your left arm there, quite steep, getting a little bit longer. The length of backswing is better. You're not turning as much as you were before. That's a good sign, okay? As you come back to the golf ball here now, it's going to go from sort of these positions as you come back down through. Sorry, back one again. Go back here. There we go. So that's kind of going through almost your neck area. This one here now you've got to set up. Club down. Did you pressure? So club down, and then a wider stance there. Moving your feet, just try and get yourself nice and light. Mind that, which when your feet are going to move back and forth, side to side, that's just too much because your brain, where's the ball? And you're always going to get adjustments, okay? So in terms of the backswing thing, a little bit flatter. It's not massively flatter, but it is a little bit flatter, and you'll see coming into impact more of a change as you come down. As we start coming down here now, the club now is more through your right shoulder, as you can see, yeah? Rather than through your neck area, so sort of similar sort of position coming down. Then as we come into impact now, the club you can see now here, outside your hands a bit more. As the club comes down there, there's your hands, and there's the club. So the club now is nearer to the right side. And this is the one you'll see more and more and so on. There's your club face now outside. There's your club more just outside. Yeah, so that's kind of just into impact there. Just before that club makes contact, you see your club now is more of an attack into the golf ball on a more direct hit, to the golf ball, as opposed to this one coming across that quite a bit and just spinning the ball to the left to right quite a bit, to be fair. So getting that sensation of being a little bit flatter. The ball's going to start on the left hand side because you're slightly outside. It starts left as a soft little fade back to target. If you know you'll do that 9 times out of 10, that is to me kind of be your stock shot. We'll maybe sort of practice with that left arm lower, see how you feel with that, okay? Can we get a little bit lower? We'll try and hit a few draws now to see how you draw the ball and see what you do. In terms of release club, we don't want to be sort of having that sort of flicky one to try and draw the ball. We still want that good impact. We don't want to sort of just have flicking your hands back in, sort of, yes, you might send the ball right to left, but chances are you'll probably start too far left and not be a very good strike and just spin further left. And I think if you look at your hybrids and 3-woods, how often do you need to actually draw them to benefit from a shot? Now, yes, maybe the 12th on your place around that corner, but you just said you go toward the corner and stop, and then you sort of play 90 degrees to the left. There's not going to be many situations where you've got to probably hit it right to left to benefit. If anything, it's probably more left to right around your place. First, second.
Most first shots are fade is better, but it's the 7th, the par 3-7, which is quite a long par 3.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, uphill. So
the wind is quite often going.
So there's a right to left shape there. Okay, so that may be one. And again, I've had a chat with a guy before who's sort of trying to get his handicap down, sort of, he's under single figures now, but when we're sort of going through that sort of teens and stuff, there's a par 3 out there on the Mac on the 4th that with a tree on the left-hand side, you've got to almost hit the ball right to left, and especially off the back tees on the top there, you've got to go right to left if you want to try and get close. His left to right shot, he couldn't start far enough left without missing the green in the bunker right.
Yeah.
So he worked bloody hard to kind of get a 6, 7 iron, 8 iron, depending on what club he's going to hit, to give him that kind of 5-10 yard draw just for that one hole. Now, obviously, there'll be other holes and he plays other golf courses, but just for his own golf course, there's one hole he was playing for. But that's, when you look at a game of golf, it's 18 holes. You can't go, well, I can play 15 of those balls and I play those 2, but this one I can't play it.
Yeah.
So that's one hole you can't play. That's going to be a bogey or a double every time. Well, why just commit to making a bogey or a double on a par 3 when actually if I can just take one shot I could now play this hole?
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that 7th for you, they just sort of get a feeling of what that hybrid's going to do. We'll try and hit a few draws just to get a bit of feel for that. Certainly the left arm's got to be lower, which again brings the path in more from a shallower angle and more in from the inside. So you're not trying to flick it to draw the golf ball.
No.
We're just changing the path and the club face. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Change the club face to be square in the path from the inside rather than just a right hand to help it. Does that make sense in terms of the movement there, Liam? So yeah, just be careful with that ball, but have a little play about with that, sort of try to build it up generally rather than sort of go too narrow, shuffle, and then never really get right. Okay, so.
Riding hybrid, I think it feels like I play it like an iron.
Well, you effectively do hit down on the ball because the ball's not left heel. It's not as far forward as the driver, but you still have a shallower angle of attack because the ball is obviously with a wider stance. Okay, mate?